Well, hey guys and gals, old guy riding here. I made a big mistake. What mistake was that? That mistake was made when I let the dealership install the side cases. It took them close to 4 hours to install those side cases. I should have known better. I should have done it myself. I have since gone on to YouTube and I read the instructions that came with the side cases. I asked for all that stuff. If they're going to install something, I want every single part that came with it. Whatever's left over, give it to me. They charged me close to $500 to install those side cases. I was unaware. I'd never had side cases before. I didn't know what it entailed, but I have since wised up as to what it does entail. There are a couple of stickies. It's a piece of metal with sticky on the back. You put it in here and you put it in here. They didn't even line it up correctly. Once that's done, it's all side case. There's a protective piece that comes on top of the side case that you have to install. 5 screws. Bada bing, you're done. The hard part is, I guess it's not really hard. It's probably just time consuming. You have to set the tumbler to fit your ignition key. And how that happens is you have the tumbler, which is a cylinder, maybe, I don't know, that long. And you have 5 holes. And you get 5 springs. And a spring goes in each one of those holes. There are also 4 slots. And you get 4 bags, color-coded, with 4 different pins in those bags. So when you start out, you take, say, the orange bag, you take the 4 pins out, you put them in the 4 slots, you put your key where the key goes, and whatever pins work their way flush, top and bottom, are pins that stay in the tumbler. The others you take out. You may have no pins, and you take them all out. But once you do that, you move on to the next color-coded bag, say blue. You take all 4 pins, or however many pins are vacant for the slots, and you put them in the slots. Again, you put your key in, and whichever ones fall flush with the tumbler, that's the one, or those are the ones that you'll keep. It's not rocket science. It's for both tumblers, for both side cases. So if you're smart, you're writing down the sequence for the first tumbler, which will make the second tumbler piece of cake. Once you have all those done, you slip it into the side case. I think you turn it clockwise, then turn it counterclockwise, and it'll snap into place. Not that hard. And it took these professionals close to 4 hours to do it. They got me. Didn't know any better, but I know now. And in my knowing, I'm letting you know. Buy the side cases yourself. The side cases are, I think it was $852, and you put them on yourself. I won't make the same mistake again. And don't you make the mistake that I did. The second thing, the outlet. It took the dealership over 2 hours to install this outlet. All you need do is take off 1, 2, 3 fairings. You remove this bolt and this bolt, and that allows you to maneuver this piece around. Make sure you have a nice rag between this piece and the gas tank so your gas tank doesn't get scratched. You get a small Phillips head screwdriver and you disengage the bracket that comes on the bike. Once you do that, the connector is right in here underneath the fairing. Just get that connector, free it up from, I think it's in some black tape. Next thing you do, you take this piece, you work it in this way. There's a notch that you line up, and then there's a screw-in threaded ring that will fit behind this piece. Just screw it in tightly, connect the 2 connectors, and put the 2 bolts back, put your fairings back on. Job well done. Not at the dealer. The service manager came out while I was sitting there and said he's being really careful with the fairings. He's got both sides off and he's putting them on a nice soft blanket. So I said, well, why does he have both sides off? You don't need both sides off. Everything you need is on the left side. Well, that's what the instructions told him to do. Where did these people get their instructions? Maybe they make them up themselves. Maybe these are dealership instructions that say, hey, the more you take off, the longer it takes. The longer it takes, the more we can charge. Yeah, that sounds good. Those are our instructions. Putting in this outlet should have taken about a half hour. I mean, after all, these are professionals. I don't know anything about this bike. This is the first one I've ever owned. It's the first sport bike I've ever owned. I've never dealt with fairings. However, for me to install these frame sliders and also to install the fender eliminator and the integrated taillight took me less than 3 hours for everything. And yes, you do have to take the fairings off of both sides for the frame sliders. And you have to take all kinds of stuff apart here. And then getting this to fit back on was a bit of a pain. The manufacturer, Moto Dynamic, should give you some bolts that are just a hair longer than the OEM, because it really takes a lot of dexterity and oomph to get that to sit where you want it to sit. But it's doable, as you can see. But it took me less than 3 hours. Me, an old guy with no experience on this bike. I'm not a technician in any way, shape, or form. I get all that done in less than 3 hours. And the professionals take close to 4 just to put side cases on. You wonder why it costs so much to take your bike to the dealer? That's why, guys and gals. I'm going to get off my soapbox. All I can say is if you have modifications or accessories, which is another thing, somebody called me out letting me know that the fender eliminator was the only true modification when I did my videos on the must mods you should have. And he is absolutely correct. Everything else falls into the category of accessories. I stand corrected. But if you're going to do modifications and or accessories, learn to do it yourself, guys and gals. It's not that hard. If this old guy with this old brain can do it, then you most certainly can do it yourselves. So you all take care. I hope your holidays went well. Happy New Year to everyone. And I'll be talking at you later. I'll see ya.